hands down, the most important thing about video games is the video games. And that's what it's all about. Like, for me personally, I'm a big video game fan. Yes, I prefer Xbox, but at the end of the day, man, video games are video games. And as long as they're good, that's kind of the thing that I care about. So, that's the thing that I'm like most excited for in the future. Now, does that mean that things are always going to be great? No, but what I think is awesome is that we live in a modern times where developers can, talk to us and let us know what's going on with their video games, which is really cool. Because back in the day, like when I was younger and things like that, there was none of that. You maybe got a Nintendo Power or something like that, but it wasn't like it is today where they directly could answer your questions, and it was like really cool. So now when we look at this, one of my most anticipated games of the entire year, as most of you probably already know, is Avowed. And they've actually gone out and kind of talking about it because a lot of people are comparing it to Skyrim, which I think sets unrealistic expectations. Just being honest, it really does. Skyrim is Skyrim, right? Just like Starfield got compared to Skyrim a lot. But, Skyrim is Skyrim and Starfield is Starfield, and Avowed is going to be Avowed. That's the thing I think people need to kind of understand and completely realize. Now, Avowed is more focused than Skyrim, despite comparisons, which is good news in my opinion. We've gotten a much, much closer look at Avowed in recent weeks, especially with the game's appearance at the Xbox Direct the other week, and an extended look at gameplay right after the show. Still, the good old developer chat is bound to provide some more juicy bits of info, and Avowed game director is actually talking about it right now, about the upcoming RPG, touching on obvious comparison to games like Skyrim as well as the Outer Worlds. And I quote, "It's hard in 2024 to escape some comparisons to Skyrim if you're making a first-person fantasy action RPG, but I think the model that we've looked to internally is building Avowed as our fantasy take on the Outer Worlds, not with the same tone, but a similar structure to the world and in terms of scope. For us, it's about having a more focused experience, something that feels a little more curated. We could be a little bit more intentional. That slimmer scope and focus obviously translates to the game's open world, which isn't fully open like Skyrim. Again, closer to stuff like Outer Worlds is more of an apt comparison, which to me, I think is fine. Like, not every damn game in this day and age has to be this huge, massive open world. I think that really can hamper some games. I can remember people being disappointed that the first Alan Wake game, which was going to be like this more open world game, when that game ended up not being open world, they had to kind of scale it back a little bit. I think that it's one of those situations where gamers were upset about it. I wasn't. I was like, hey, this is fine by me because I don't really care about the idea of a game being there to kind of just search all around. Like, that can be very, very boring to me, right? I know people don't want to believe it or whatever, but honestly, incredibly boring. Just, these big open worlds is one of the reasons why I'm not like this big GTA fan or whatever, like GTA has you could go A to B or whatever, but it's just one of those things that you kind of get, tired of it after a while. But anyway, they continued on with this. Our world comprises zones that are definitely not small, but certainly more constrained than a massive map that you would walk to beginning to end. In several hours. It allows us to have a little more intentionality. A huge sprawling landscape or not, everybody's looking forward to the living lands of Avowed on Xbox later this year. In fact, the game's smaller scale appeals to a lot these days, especially when there's just so much to play across Xbox and, of course, Game Pass and things like that. So I'm going to link this article. Nice little interview, nice little write-up, but I'm very much excited to hear what everybody else has to say about this, because when you think about it, right, like a lot of people were going, oh, well, it's their take on this or their take on that, and I can understand that, because if you think about what Obsidian has done a fairly good job of doing stuff like Fallout, and then of course some people might even like and think that Outer Worlds is sort of like Starfield. It's not, other than the fact that they're kind of like space, both take place on space and planets and things like that. But obviously Obsidian also did Fallout New Vegas, and so there's obviously going to be some comparisons there. For me personally, though, I like the fact that they're kind of just doing their own thing, and at the end of the day, you can't really ask for much more than that. They've been pretty honest about it. They went back and scrapped some ideas that they originally had because, you know, it was maybe a little bit too close to what was going on with the Skyrim game and things like that. So yeah, like when you look at it from that kind of perspective, I sort of think, you know, hey, this is for the better. You know, this is definitely for the better. You know, they're able to kind of go out there and make sure that they're doing their own thing, and I think that's probably going to be for the best, because when you think about, you know, Microsoft and you think about, you know, things like that, you don't want it looking like you're kind of ripping off and kind of and taking things from your own other property. So yeah, like to see that as well. Microsoft, like I said, have done a very, very good job of kind of doing that, and I like Obsidian. I don't really think that they miss. I think that they managed to do, you know, a lot of great things, and I think that, you know, one of the best things that they do is kind of stick to their own guns and what they want to kind of accomplish. So, you know, we didn't need a Skyrim 2.0 or 1.5 or anything like that. Skyrim's still there with a ton of content and things like that. What we need is, you know, something that Obsidian can do, the best game that Obsidian can do. And, you know, just because something is a fantasy game, like they say, doesn't mean that it has to necessarily be, you know, a Skyrim knockoff or whatever the case may be. So, you know, I like seeing that. You know, I like seeing that they're doing their own thing. It gives me hope for the future. You know what I mean? Like, for me, when I saw Avowed, I originally thought, just like probably everybody else, you know, hey, this is something that, you know, obviously looks like a great game in Skyrim. But yeah, we'd all love more Skyrim or whatever, and maybe updated Skyrim. But at the same time, do we want that? I mean, if we get a Skyrim 2, I think, or whatever the case may be, hopefully that's from Bethesda themselves. Let Obsidian be Obsidian, you know. I just honestly think that is what we need to see, and that is what we need to kind of look out and see kind of what's going on, you know. Love seeing that. You know, I hope anyway that they continue on with this and giving us little bits and tidbits of information, because I always think like that's always an important thing. You know, and we'll see what happens, you know, in the future. But like I said, my most anticipated game, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what happens in the future. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's going to be the most interesting thing that kind of comes out of this, you know, like, let's see what happens. You know, I'm excited. Are you guys excited? Let me know. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. If you enjoyed the content, I'm Crap Gamer, and this has been Crap Gamer Reviews. Make sure you guys subscribe and possibly even like the videos. I do daily video content, and hopefully it's somewhat enjoyable, if not downright amazing. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.